Some Sunny Day, written by Vera Lynn, read by Dame Vera Lynn and my daughter, Virginia Louis Jones. I will always remember the moment war was declared at the beginning of September 1939. I was sitting in the garden of the new house I had bought in Barking with Mum and Dad. Life was going very well for me. I was singing with Bert Ambrose's band, fulfilling what was really the only ambition I had ever had, to be the best singer with the best band in the land. Before the announcement came, anyone would have told you that times were not easy, but my life was certainly not bad. We were all drinking tea, my dad sitting in his deck chair as he'd loved to do. Naturally, we had the radio on all the time because for weeks everyone had been on tenterhooks, not knowing what was going to come. And that's when I heard the news. Now, the first thought that came into my head was a selfish one. Oh dear, there goes my singing career. The men, including all the musicians in the band, would all be going away to fight, and I would be headed straight for the munitions factory, and I was only 22. It seemed like the end of my world. Now, no one thought that entertainment would become essential during the war, and I certainly never thought I would have the chance to continue singing, or that We'll Meet Again would become the tune people most associated with the war era, or that my voice would become one that most reminded people of the hope for the future that we all needed to have at that time. So 7 decades later, it makes me especially proud and honoured that people still want to mark the anniversary of the outbreak of the war. And I feel privileged to have become a symbol of that era. It's very humbling. It is something to live up to when people call you a national treasure, and that is certainly not an expression I would use myself. I just see myself as someone who found herself in the right place at the right time, or perhaps we should call it the wrong time. People have always been amazed to learn that I can't read music, as I told a newspaper in 1943. I learn a tune pretty easily, although I can't read music. I get the words into my head and then run them over and over again until I don't have to bother any more because they just come out naturally. Then I can think about the singing. It makes me laugh to read what else I told them for that article, that I wanted to retire before long. 70 years later, and I haven't really retired at all. And then I wanted to get the garden going properly. That took another 50 years. And then I wanted a couple of children, maybe, when I get time. But I had one daughter, Virginia, born in 1946. My music publisher, Walter Ridley, added his thoughts at that time. The secret of her success is that she is genuinely sincere and sounds it. Well, I like to think that he was right, and that is why my voice and my songs are remembered now. If any small way that can go towards encouraging people to commemorate the sacrifice of those who fought in the Second World War, then I am glad. We should always carry on remembering what happened 70 years ago. Even now I am constantly inspired by the work and bravery of our servicemen and women. It's for the ones who are fighting now that we must always make sure that the ones who fought in the past are not forgotten. Well, now I'm going to sit back and make myself comfortable and let Virginia, my daughter, take over. So, Virginia, it's over to you.
The funny thing is, I don't remember singing as a tiny child. It's only from my press cuttings that I know that apparently I could sing 5 songs right through by the time I was 2. But I believe that a person's life only really begins with what they can remember for themselves. So my story has to start, strangely enough, with the time I nearly died. I was not quite 3 years old. I have a recollection of being all on my own in some kind of a tent, surrounded by
Sample complete. Ready to continue?